Hey, what's up, traders? To watch this video here for, let's see, Wednesday, May 6th. Quick glance at the SPY. It ended up closing pretty close to where it opened, but in the afternoon, you can see here, we kind of rolled over in the afternoon. So when I saw that, I said, hey, I'm pretty much done for the day, but a really nice morning. What are we watching for? I'll show you a couple stocks real quick. Let's see. We had an old school, for those of you that weren't there. Had an old school morning gap play. Doesn't look like much, but I think I made $600 in a couple minutes. This SGBX whole number, it opened at a whole number with the high of day just above. Seller's fail scenario, called it long through 6. And within about 3 minutes, it was 660. Just as I teach, I scaled out all the way up, especially on a morning gap play, because you never know if some, one of those sheepish chat rooms got a hold of it, and then those things can fall apart in a hurry. But anyway, it was one of those old school plays that worked really well. And you don't see that often. So usually you don't even catch a good setup in it. But yeah, even though the daily's kind of ugly now, right? It was a nice little morning trade, which really encompassed just this little topping tail right here. But we rent them, right? We don't invest, we rent them, and it was a good setup. So AKBA, I also call this flag idea. Didn't give like a specific trigger and stop. Let me go 2-minute candles. Pointed out this nice look. Yeah, let's get it going here. Pointed out this nice looking flag right about there that might work, and it ended up ripping. And I had a couple really nice pullback plays in what was that crazy one today? CLSK. Couple twos buy zones earlier on. I'm showing you fives here, but a couple twos buy zones plays that worked pretty well too. Overall, though, and I actually called this long through 2, but I don't think I set it in time for people to get in. Jake H put it on my radar for the 2 break. Unfortunately, I sold some into the pop and had to hit out flat because it came back to my entry. I don't trust anything. So again, I took a couple pullback plays in it after that, but it still hurts a little bit, hurts your heart a little bit to say, hey, I had this at 2 and it went to almost 460. And all I had was a couple medium-sized trades in it. So anyway, that's the life of a trader. Well over my daily goal today, though, so I will take that. And let's see, what are we watching for tomorrow? Actually, this is going to be on the watch list, but let's go back to the SPY real quick. So we're kind of in no man's land, just in the middle of its last week or 2 range, right? So nothing really significant there. Here's my watch list for Wednesday. Keep in mind when you watch this, I know I say this all the time, but somebody may be watching my video for the first time. I am populating my charts on my 6 monitors with stuff that might give me a trade tomorrow, right? None of these are investments. These are stuff I'm going to watch tomorrow for an intraday A+ setup. Anyway, you see I had this big pop in SM, then it kind of rolled over. Then today, put in a lower high at 410. But if oil catches a bid, you can argue this is kind of flagging right here. I mean, it's only been flagging for a few days. Maybe if we switch to 15-minute candles, you'll see it a little bit better. Yeah, so there's the big pop, and here's your flag. It's interesting, like back through 4, then we've got today's high of 410, and then the recent high. So I do like the looks of this with oil strong. SM may be my go-to. PHAS, these are in no particular order, by the way. PHAS got a nice volume spike. I'll show you a 5-minute candle. It's got a nice volume spike right at the end of the day on a headline. So, that gave it kind of a handsome-looking daily chart. You had this pop back here. Topped out at 483. Today topped out at 483. So you got to like that over this I don't know, 2.5 week range. AMRH. Another one that I don't, love it, but that's a big volume day for this stock. And switching to 5s, it got its big spike right at the end of the day. So something might be up there. We'll watch for a possible continuation pattern tomorrow. MIST, M-I-S-T. Tried to break out into this big gap here. Let's see, that would have been Friday, and then a couple of just quiet days. So it's kind of an ugly version of a cup and handle. I'm going to keep my eyes on that one. CALX. This one's extended. It's still pretty far from the moving averages, but it had a kind of a big move here, and it's forming kind of a flag pattern. I don't love it because it feels extended, but I am going to watch it. AKBA. Big breakout today. That's that one I showed you. I called pointed out the flag this morning. Pretty strong close. I definitely want to watch that for a possible continuation day. CLSK, I talked about this one already. But that's a big volume day. It's hard to ignore that. It briefly took out the highs from earlier in, well, I don't know, about early April. April 9th, actually, is when it did that. So, gave a lot of it back, right? Ended up closing in the middle of its range, but sometimes the very next day, you catch a nice little red to green or something. So it goes on a chart. RVP, inside day, big day yesterday, today inside of yesterday's range. We'll look for a third day play there. LPTH, this one's really strong, also extended from the, I try to talk too fast, from the moving averages. But at the same time, it topped out at 274 a few sessions ago, and then today topped out right around 250. I don't know. Maybe we get an open below 250 and we can take it through today's high, you know, half number inflection point, knowing that the other day it was 270 something. But again, it's another one that's kind of extended from the moving averages. ADVM. I feel like I already showed this one, but that was AKBA. They look very similar. So ADVM, big breakout today. Strong volume. We're going to watch that for a follow-through day. VXRT, I've had this on watch for like 3 or 4 days in a row. Just goes back on bounce watch again. I'll tell you what I'm looking for in this would be like an afternoon breakout. So I'll switch to 15-minute candles. I did not do that right. I did 156-minute candles. 15-minute candles. Here's where it topped out on that big move, which was, I don't know, somewhere around 410. Then the next day it topped out in the opening 15 minutes, and the next day, and the next day, the next day maybe about 20 minutes in, and so on and so on. It really, what we haven't had is a sideways day like we had today, where in the afternoon it breaks out of its range to the upside. That's the setup that I'm looking for a possible, afternoon, I don't want to say squeeze, because shorts aren't really in trouble here, but an afternoon bounce on a recent high flyer. So we haven't had that in all the days I've been watching it. So you know what I do? I just put it back on a chart and I'll watch it again tomorrow. It doesn't cost you anything to have a symbol on a chart. AVEO. When I see a stock that's moved like this, normally I want to see maybe 2 or 3 red days, partial retracement of the big move before I get really interested. But at the same time, sometimes a stock is so strong. This one went from 4 to almost 9. So in 4 days, this thing doubled. Sometimes you get sellers coming in. It looks like an easy short back down to the moving averages. And then the very next day after the first red day, it's strong again. So even though it's extended from the moving averages, I do see that from time to time. And this thing, you could argue, is pretty darn strong. And then lastly, I'm going to put BYND on watch, Beyond Meat, which reported earnings after the bell. As I'm talking, it's trading about 105 bucks. It went up over 107 at one point. So that is kind of interesting, because I think there's a lot of shorts in the name. We'll add some gappers to this in the pre-market as well. We'll find plenty to trade tomorrow. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see you in the morning.